And welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Merge. I'm here with Clayton. How are you doing, Clayton?
Hi.
Hi. Nelson, what is going on?
Stay in your lane.
So, yes.
Yeah, well,
so today was kind of a big day in Lakerland. It started off pretty crazy. There was a Woj bomb that Paul George's agent has informed the Pacers that he is not going to be re-signing with them after the 2018 season, and that he is preferring to go to the Lakers over any other team right now to go back home, stuff like that. So, immediately when that happened, Twitter went ablaze. Everyone was saying how why does Paul George want to go there? Lakers suck. He said he wants to win. Why would he go to the Lakers? All this stuff. So, first of all, after that happened, there was a lot of trade rumors, a lot of trade discussion. The Pacers have allegedly been talking to everybody, seeing if they have any ideas for what the trade could be. And apparently the most serious contenders right now are the Cavs and the Boston Celtics, more recently the Boston Celtics, but more so the Cavs than anyone. So do you guys think we should wait for Paul George or should we trade him? Nelson? Trade for him, sorry. My bad, trade for him.
Yeah, I think that we should just wait it out. In my opinion, I just don't see the value or a scenario where the Lakers make a good trade, especially with the agents being involved in D'Angelo and Julius's agent being Paul George's agent as well, and Ingram being thrown around as untouchable. It's just tough to see the Lakers moving those three. And apart from that, garnering value from Jordan Clarkson, the 28th pick, and the Larry Nance, that just doesn't seem appealing to me. And I don't think that the Pacers would budge on that kind of trade. So it's just really tough for them to see an avenue for them to acquire Paul George. And even if they could, even if the agents weren't involved and D'Angelo and Julius had separate agents, I'd still be I'd still not want. I still would not want to lose him, just because I know that he's a valuable player and he's outstanding, and you know that the Lakers need a player like him, and that he provides value on both sides, more on offense now than the defense, especially the past year. But I just think that he definitely provides the star that the Lakers are looking for, and I think that he'd be a good fit in LA. Personally, I think the Lakers could build around him, and the core pieces in place are not stopping uh, Paul George from reaching his maximum potential. You can play him at the 3 or the 4. Ingram can play either position, so Paul George can choose wherever he wants to play. Ideally, it'd be the 4, just because all the numbers show that he's a better 4. And I think that's probably where he would play better if he adjusts to it now, and that would add more longevity to his career, because that's probably going to be his role as he gets less athletic. So yeah, I think that it's a good fit with the Lakers, and that the Lakers should definitely go after him and pitch him and try their best to attain him. And with this rumor, it was just nothing new really. I mean, it's really been talked around a lot that LA has been the number 1 destination or the number 2 destination with the Clippers, as well as being the main destinations. So I mean, like this wasn't really something new. But to have it happen officially, and for him to officially say that he's not going to resign, and that that the Lakers are one of his top options, that speaks volume. And especially coming from Woj, I definitely think that there's a lot of people thought that it was more like a play move at the deadline, that it wasn't really anything serious. But it looks now that Paul George is serious about coming to LA, and if he is, then the Lakers should definitely wait for him and not waste assets, so that way they appear more appealing when it comes time to sign him in free agency.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. Clayton, so I'm pretty sure you are pretty much feeling the same exact way. Do you see any sort of scenario where Paul George gets traded somewhere else and it would pretty much just like kill Paul George to LA type talk? And if so, where do you think that would be?
well, first off, the should the Lakers go after him? My answer is kind of like up in the air on that one. Not that the Lakers shouldn't go after him, but they shouldn't give up premium assets for him. So like if you could do it like a 28, even though I honestly really wouldn't even want to include that much, with like Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, and some other salary ballast like Tarek or Corey Brew or something like that, then yeah, you do it. If they don't want to do it and they find a better offer, then all right, let him move on.
Yeah.
Two destinations where I think could be really possible for him to stay would be Cleveland. If the rumored Kevin Love thing were to happen, LeBron would shift up to the 4. PG would just slot in at the 3. The thing with this is like people are like, well, he'll go to a winning culture, and what if he wants to stay there? He's been part of a winning culture. You know, the Indiana Pacers. What?
Kind of breaking news from Ramona Shelburne. Lakers looking to add another first-round pick. Sources say.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. This is per Ramona, who's probably one of the best. When it comes to like stuff like this, I think she was one of the first after Ding was with the whole D'Angelo thing. But yes, this is definitely something I really want.
Looking in the lottery. So it says the Lakers are engaged in at least 2 other teams in a lottery, sources said, as they are searching for players to improve their outside shooting and perimeter defense. LA holds 28.
Luke Kennard, that's a guy.
It says defense, so that kind of.
Well, no, you said outside shooting and defense. I didn't think you meant like in the same vein.
I mean, kind of would.
That, I don't really know if there's a prospect in the lottery that has both.
Yeah.
Besides maybe Markel, but that's a huge maybe.
So yeah, I my guess would be OG. They really like OG. He seems to be sliding on draft boards for some reason, probably because of the ACL. But yeah,
I think you can wait on OG at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the question is are they using? I didn't see if they're trying to use. She's not real specific if they're going to try and use 28 to move up as part of it.
I'd be 100% okay with that.
Yeah,
but someone like OG or who else?
I know Zach Collins is the real popular one right now.
Frank.
I'm still really skeptical on that one.
Maybe Frank, because international scouts. But
I mean, we have not heard a lot about Frank with the Lakers. Frank Ntilikina, for those who don't know, but he's a guy that I've been really high on. Did the Lakers even work out Zubats last year, or is that just kind of like random out of? I'll look it up. You guys talk about it.
I think that the international scout, I forget his name, but we have like one of the best in the league, international scouts, and he scouted him a lot. And I think Mitch saw him a few times play too, but they didn't work him out. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. They for sure like went over to see him, but I don't think they worked him out in a like a normal draft pick sense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that OG is probably one of the targets just because of his defense and how Magic and him talking about defense, and that's obviously one of the huge areas of need for the Lakers, especially bringing Alonso. You want to have some kind of perimeter defense to help stabilize that iffy backcourt. But I think there was a report by Chad Ford earlier that the Lakers are looking into Luke Kennard. And I think that might be one of the targets here. I don't know if it's a sure thing.
I would not trust Chad Ford with.
Hold on. Was that Chad Ford for the Lakers with Luke Kennard? I didn't really read the article. I know Lakers Nation.
That was Chad Ford.
I know Lakers Nation posted it, but I didn't read it.
Yeah, I think if it's, I'm kind of just connecting the dots here. I know Chad Ford is the most reliable person in the world, but I'm trying to connect the dots. I think Kennard would be an option there.
Would like Donovan Mitchell would be someone?
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell would also be a guy who adds defense.
If you add Donovan Mitchell, then everyone can say goodbye to Jordan Clarkson, and I'm totally fine with that.
100% fine with that. He'd be an awesome 6-man. Oh man.
Yeah, and I mean like having OG there is obviously the premium target, even though he's slipping because probably his medicals. I'd still take a flyer on him in the lottery. I think Zach Collins is probably another guy that's probably going to get talked a lot in that range. Just because he's kind of been like the darling of Lakers Twitter, like over the past few weeks.
Yeah, and they're working him out tomorrow.
Yeah, so that would kind of make sense. And if he really does well in the workout, then we could see trade talks become a little bit more intense. And I mean, this is obviously kind of what I wanted. Honestly, I just wanted them to like upgrade from the 28th spot because the 20th spot's kind of murky. There's some good options, but it's not anything like yes, it's like anything stellar they would take since like players that fall they usually fall they're usually going to be taken like by Brooklyn or something like that. So to jump past them and to take a flyer guy like Ike Anibogu, that's another option, or OG. Guys like that are super valuable, and if they're able to somehow get up that high and be able to snatch them before they fall, I think that's pretty good GMing by Rob Pelinka. But yeah, I mean, Merch, is there any other target that you are like really thinking about? Because I know OG is
the
only going to be the one that's talked about the most.
Yeah, I think OG is the top. I think he would be the one that would be the most possible because we know for sure the Magic watched him at the Combine.
Right.
We know for sure they had an interview with him. But if we're talking someone who can shoot and someone in the lottery, this is probably a long shot, but maybe Malik Monk, because he's the only other guy I can think of in the lottery who's a really good shooter. And
And
I haven't heard anything about them working him out.
If they draft Malik Monk, then that's another sign that Jordan Clarkson's
done. And again, Malik Monk would be an awesome 6-man. Like, he would be a ridiculous 6-man.
Yeah, he really catches fire and he can space the floor, obviously, and he can get hot, incredibly hot. I think that he's definitely a target that I look at, but I don't know if Lakers can't get up that high.
Too high,
but if Lakers are really trying to get a little bit up there, a guy that I could see slipping to maybe the 8-7 range, and Lakers could possibly get up there if they can entice a team with a certain trade proposal. But I think Jonathan Isaac could be a guy that falls. So just because I know that he's getting a lot of buzz. Yeah, he's been getting a lot of buzz by some draft people that the Suns.
The Suns like him a lot.
The Suns are interested in him, and I think the fit with Minnesota is obviously really awesome in our heads, but we don't know exactly what they're thinking over there. So yeah, I think that if Isaac were to somehow fall to that 8, 9, 10 range, then we can see the Lakers try to sneak up and nab, in my opinion, the second best talent in this draft, and that would be a huge get because that adds potential. Really good spacing. I don't know how well the shot will develop. There's still some question marks about his offensive game, but his defense is legitimate, and he is going to be definitely a Player of the Year candidate, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate for a long time. So I think that Isaac is a guy that could potentially fall there. I wouldn't guarantee it. I don't really consider it likely, but I think that's an option.
If I just thought of something that Clayton would hate, but if we're talking shooting again,
right?
Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, Lauri Markkanen could be a guy. I mean, I'm not for that at all, just because the defense,
Clayton lagged out again. Of course he did.
Yeah, he did. But I just think that floor spacing from the center position is really awesome, especially having Lonzo there. It really spaces the floor. But on defense, there's just way too many issues, and I get that Randall can switch, and Ingram can get to a point where he can defend really well. But having Lonzo, D'Angelo, and Markkanen on the same floor, on the defensive end,
oh man,
on playoff time, that's gonna be a disaster. And Markkanen, and like Cole Zwicker talks a lot about on his podcast. I just don't think Markkanen can stay on the floor in the playoffs. And if the Lakers are trying to build a legitimate contender, then Markkanen just won't be a piece that you can play down the stretch, and matchups are just gonna get exploited with him on the court. Yeah. So I understand the idea behind it, and I understand drafting this amazing shooting center, but it's just he doesn't bring anything else apart from shooting, like Cole said on the podcast. And
unless you already have like a guy like not him exactly, but Nerlens Noel type, and he's like your backup.
Right.
I can even then. Is that really worth spending a lottery pick on?
Yeah, it's certainly a tough pill to swallow, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's another option I think I could see the Lakers considering.
Yeah.
But
something else I kind of just thought of right now that this could be pointing to maybe is maybe the Lakers are trying to get a pick so they can package it for Paul George.
That could be a potential thing that they're trying to do. They're trying to maybe package 2 first-rounders and see if that's enough to get
like Jordan, like 2 first-rounders and like Jordan Clarkson or something like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the trade would be though, because Lakers don't have. I mean, I think it'd probably likely
What
include Larry Nance,
Julius Randle maybe,
possibly.
Unless it's like Larry. If they're really trying to move up to get the highest possible pick, I can see like a Larry, Jordan, and 28, and I can see that moving up to lottery for sure. I think that's almost guaranteed lottery.
Yeah, because, a lot of NBA people are high on Larry Nance.
Yeah.
Higher than probably we are.
Yeah,
so I think
I think some are higher on Clarkson than we are too.
Yeah, and definitely, and I think that 28 still seen in this deep draft. That I think that's certainly seen by a lot as like like attainable. And I think that if maybe a team like Portland doesn't want to take
that's a big team.
Who has like 3 draft picks at the number 15 spot? I think I think you can see them try to fight on like a Larry Nance type trade proposal, just because Larry Nance can switch onto guards and guard him pretty well, and he's a pretty good lob target. So I think that we could see Portland try to get more of an established player instead of just stockpiling the picks, and they already have 2 other picks. So I mean, it's not like some of their picks are going to be expandable. So I mean, I doubt. I think I give it like 5% chance that they make all those draft picks, in my opinion. So that makes one of them expandable, and I think that if Lakers are really trying to get like into like Zach Collins OG territory, I think then 15 is like the lowest.
I think Zach Collins will be gone by 15. I don't think OG will be gone by 15. I think you might be able to wait a couple more for him, to be honest. I think he might be able to go 20 where the Trailblazers are, or if you're feeling really lucky, you might be able to go after 20 and 15.
Yeah, that could happen. I just don't think that that's pretty attainable at this moment. I just think that at 15 there's plenty of good options, and it's much better than being at 28. And if it means getting Jordan Clarkson's contract off the books, that also helps. And just getting a guard there that can space the floor, or a 5 that can defend, I think that's really, really huge, especially for what the Lakers are trying to build in this much more modern NBA where floor spacing is so important and defense is so important. I think that Ike Anigbogu would be the guy that I'd be rooting for to make it there, which some may consider it a reach, some may consider it a pretty good pick. I considered it a really good pick just because, some of the chemistry with Lonzo and also the rim protection ability and the ability to dive. He's still really raw, and it's definitely a project, and you'll be getting most of his value down the line. But I think the Lakers aren't building for right now, so I think it's fine to let a guy like that develop and give him a pretty good contract after his rookie deal's up. And I think that they can afford that just because they're not afraid to spend. So,
okay. So if you had to like kind of rank it, if the Lakers were trying to get a pick, like what do you think is the most possible outcome that happened to that player, or like trade wise? What do you think?
I think.
Do you think they're going after OG, or they're trying to get a pick to get Paul George? Like, what do you think is most possible?
I think it's definitely just a pick to draft a player. I just don't think that Paul George is as a trade target is really in their mind that much.
Yeah.
I know that he's available, or that he said that he wants to go to Lakers, and that he's not going to resign. I understand that. I just think that the Lakers are really trying to get some help as far as young pieces are, because I mean Jordan Clarkson is kind of not really fitting the system.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Nance and Randall, there's some kind of like redundancy there, so I could see why the Lakers are kind of like on the fence with that 1-2 combination at the power forward position. So I could definitely see them trying to package for Paul George. But I just think that they're just trying to help the young core with players that fit around Ingram, Russell, and Ball. I think that's the core. Oh, and Randall as well. And that's the core, and they're trying to put pieces around them, either on the bench or at the 5 spot, to really get the best out of that core. And I think my number one guy right there would be Zach Collins at like 15, 14, 13. That'd be my guy. I think OG would be fine at that range. I just think that he's slipping a little bit, so I think that you could probably get him a little bit lower. So I'd kind of be like, a little bit about that pick. And Yeah, a guy like Ike and Luke Kennard, I'd be fine with.
Oh,
Ike a little bit more, just because Luke Kennard has some defensive issues that I worry about. But Ike, he tries to block everything, and it doesn't always work out. But I just think that's pretty valuable.
yeah, I think if like someone in that range, I'd probably honestly, I think I might go for OG first. It's really close between OG and Zach Collins. I think Zach Collins could be something special. Honestly, I think. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say like he could be that like five that the Lakers need.
Right.
You know, that prototypical five that the NBA, because he's pretty athletic. He's pretty agile for his size. He has a nice jumper on him. He has a form. It's a clean stroke. I just think that if it's more like if they're trading that, I think that it's really Collins, OG, or like Kennard. If I had to choose between the three, so sorry, yeah, that was it was more breaking news type thing. So we'll go back to Paul George a little bit. Do you remember where we left off when I kind of interrupted Clayton? I think we were just talking about who we think.
Yeah, he was just talking about he was just talking about the package that he would accept and the kind of players that he thinks that would go in there. And I think that me and him are kind of like on the same side of this. I think that there's a decent package for the Lakers to offer there. I don't know if a team might come in just offering more and just hope that the players that they already have there, like a Boston or maybe even a Denver, who's a team that's not really talked about, to be in the Paul George
There's Clayton.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna give Spectrum a piece of my mind.
You missed all the fun draft talk, man.
I did. I did go onto YouTube a little bit and heard Nelson talking about Kennard. I know that's the rumored guy. You eventually got to stop talking about needing defense and actually just start acquiring.
Right.
Yeah. I think we came to the conclusion that if we do trade it'll either be someone like Collins or OG that they're going after.
My problem with Collins and a lot of people just get so wrapped up on fives nowadays that are quote unquote unicorns is. I mean, not necessarily that Collins is a unicorn. Don't get me, but like that stretch five that can also rim protect.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't on either of the teams that are winning the championship the past several years. What I still say is that for the majority of the year, you're going to need your rim protector. And I don't think, while I think Collins could be an adequate rim protector, I don't think he'll be. I think maybe he'll be an average rim protector. I don't know how well I think he's going to be on the perimeter and whatnot. He's just, yeah. I'd much rather go with a guy like OG. That would be the guy. But if that one's just really tricky though, because if he's sliding, like reported, then
you might be able to, because I think I said that if they're really trying to get some picks, I mean, Portland has 3 picks in the first round, and if you can get like 15 and 20, that's kind of a long shot, but 15 and 20, and I think Collins could drop in that 15 range, and OG I think will definitely be in that 20 range. Then if you can somehow pick both of them up, and that's a haul right there. I mean, it's very unlikely, but if it'll probably be in that like 12 to 20 range. I know it said lottery in the article, but I think it's gonna be tough to do unless you're willing to give up 28 Larry and like Jordan, which I think we'll get in probably. But
the real question is does this impact, like, is this like their second plan of
just in case Paul George leaves?
Looks like Paul George is like the sweepstakes to get him might be getting past what they're comfortable paying.
Mm-hmm.
And
just in case he doesn't come over in free agency, they want to get all
the talent you possibly can.
Yeah, which is really smart.
So I think my thing is the Lakers are needing guards and they're needing if you just look, the teams that win, as I was talking to you guys before the podcast, they're wings that can play defense and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Frank is a guy that I would be really targeting. I have him at like 6-7 range, maybe 8. If you could, like, he seems to be falling on boards if you can get him. How we were talking before, and I looked up while my internet was out on my computer. The Lakers last year did not work out Ivica Zubats. Not that I could find out. It at least was not on Harrison Fagan's list from last year. So shout out to Harrison and Silver Screen and Roll. It was not on his list, so I would assume, unless like that was one that wasn't updated, but I think that he was just constantly updating that anyways. It looks like they didn't work him out because they just weren't expecting to be in that position.
Yeah.
So if or at least they didn't expect him to be in that position.
Yeah, because they had him, I think, like 15, 14 on their board. Yeah.
14, 15 on their board, and they ended up taking him. So at 32. So if you know, Magic talked to OG a lot at the Combine. Apparently it was, I believe, 45 minutes to an hour, and they talked a lot about defense. That is something that you really look for. And I'm not the guy that likes to go to, like, you know, years of yonder past or whatever you want to say, but like,
Michael Cooper.
OG could be a Michael Cooper type guy.
It's the Michael Cooper conspiracy theory.
I mean, you know, they need a guy that can defend on the perimeter, and you get a OG when he's healthy, and he won't be coming back until November, December time, which means that you probably aren't expecting him to actually return to healthy form until next season. But the Lakers have more than enough time to wait on a guy who, on Jonathan Shark's latest big board, what was it, Nelson? 4? So, and I have him at 8 or 9. So so you can, if you can get a guy like that, even if you just have to wait a little bit, you know, and just let him come back slowly, you do it. I mean, they took Larry Nance, and he was still recovering from his knee injury at Wyoming. So
yeah. I'm just happy the Lakers are actually having a backup plan, just in case we don't get Paul George. So that's you know, really like telling of maybe what Pelinka and Magic will be like in the future, which is kind of awesome. So all right, continue circling back around to Paul George. I wanted to talk about how you guys think a potential Paul George lineup would fit with the Lakers, considering we draft Lonzo. So, Clayton, what do you think what position do you think he plays, and second, how do you think he fits on both sides?
What position does this PG play? I mean, he's going to be a 3-4. He says he doesn't like playing the 4, but with how the Lakers are built, unless you bring Ingram off the bench or you bring Alonzo off the bench, that's likely what he's going to have to be. It's just a 3-4 combination. I mean, and we like to talk about positionless. They all switch all the time anyway, so I don't know if it necessarily would matter. I think Ingram would probably just come off the bench anyways. Let him learn. He would still get 30-plus minutes. Let Randall get his minutes.
This is if we trade for him. So
yeah. I mean, he's the quote unquote star that they desire.
Yeah,
he's the offensive cornerstone that obviously he would be if he comes. Defensively, I don't think he's quite as elite as he used to be. I still think he's very good, but he, again, just another guy for Ingram, or just more time for Ingram to learn behind him. And if you have both of them on the team, that's a scary lineup. The end of game lineups would just be absolutely ridiculous. It would probably be something of D'Lo, Lonzo, Ingram, PG, and like Julius Randle or Larry Nance, depending on who gets traded. So that would be a lot of fun. So
yeah, there would be some. There would be like in the finals. There was a few times the Cavs and the Warriors both went to Durant and LeBron at the centers, and that was really fun to watch. So if having that sort of like not really death lineup, but like lineup where you can just pretty much just switch everything and everyone can guard almost everyone, like those are pretty fun. I think offensively, where it'll be a lot of fun to see him with D'Angelo and Lonzo on his sides, because D'Angelo and Lonzo are both really good off the ball, both really good cutters, both really good spot up shooters. Or it can be vice versa. D'Angelo and Lonzo can be finding Paul George. Paul George seems to be pretty good off the ball as well. He's a really good spot up shooter. He's a good shooter overall. He's athletic. He can go up for lobs, stuff like that. So offensively, I think it actually be a really awesome fit. Nelson, what do you think about a potential Paul George lineup?
Yeah, I think Clayton hit it right on the nail. I think that it'd be really fun just because there'd be so much switching and athleticism. I think that the lineup of Russell, Ball, Ingram, George, and Randall would be really fun just because all those players get up and down the court. Most of them can space it depending on how Julius and Ingram develop their shot and to what extent. Then you could have some serious spacing on the court. Randall's defense on ball has some issues still, but switching, he's been really good. He's able to stay with point guards, so that you don't have that many issues there. So Randall and Paul George switching onto guards won't be that big of an issue. And Lonzo seemed pretty good at handling big, so I think that the whole switching mentality would definitely work there. So yeah, I think on both ends it'd be really fun just because of all the capabilities that the players have and how they all like really fit the more modern offense of switching and spacing the floor and having multiple ball handlers because Randall can ball handle. Paul George obviously can handle the ball. Ingram can handle the ball some. Ball and Russell, we don't really say anything about their ball handling skills. They're advanced ball handlers. So I mean, you have those five on the court. It's just trying for them to be able to score a lot of points and defend better than most would expect. So
yeah. So if the Lakers do get Paul George, of course, what do you guys think happens to Julius Randle? Julius Randle's future on the Lakers. He has a big season coming up for him, a big possible contract extension. He'll be a restricted free agent if the Lakers don't extend him for the season. Or is it during the season or is it right before the season they do the contract talks?
I believe it can be up until shortly into the season, but I think it's only into October.
Okay.
So it's like shortly into October or something like that.
So with Julius having this big season ahead of him and having a lot to prove, what do you guys think if Lakers get Paul George? What do you think Julius's future is likely like? Is it with Lakers? Is it with a different team? Are we trading him? Just let him walk? What do you think, Clayton?
I think it really just depends on the agent.
Mm-hmm.
They all have. I know that's something that's been around a lot. Paul George, Julius Randle, and D'Angelo Russell all have the same agent. I don't know if I necessarily expect Randle to be part of the package to get Paul George to LA. The thing is like with getting Paul George, you kind of are loaded at like the 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just have a lot of guys that are going to be playing that 3-4 spot. So I don't know. I think Ben Rosales put it well. If the fit isn't very good or whatnot, they ended up getting the star to LA. Maybe they'll find a very cushy area for Randall to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's hard to say because it's just I don't know about him being included in a package. I do think actually Randall would be really interesting with Miles Turner.
Yeah, I do too.
That would be really intriguing, but I just don't know how like how much they want to put into something like that. That's kind of why I don't know if I actually believe Paul George is headed to LA, just because I think the sweepstakes are going to get too high for them.
I think what Julius would need to do to kind of like have the Lakers, well, first re-sign him or have him be able to play with Paul George would be he would need to really kill it as a small ball five this year, like really kill it. Like he would need to drastically improve on his defense in this during the season, because that's really the biggest. I mean, his shooting is big too, but I think you can live with another year of him trying to improve his shooting if his defense looks much improved. Having a guy having him at the five wasn't great last year. I think Larry was a bit better at the five, but that was more of an off-ball issue for Julius. And if somehow he really like worked on that a lot and he's able to like really show some obvious improvement, then they'll re-sign him. And I'm thinking maybe they'll try to do like some sort of like Lamar Odom type role, maybe have him be like this a super six man type thing, because that'll be the only way.
I question that a lot. I really do.
Because you can't start him at the five. There's no way you can do that. Even if he does kill as a small ball five, you can't start him at the five.
No, him coming off the bench, I can't imagine. Like anytime you brought Randall off the bench, he's looked quite a bit different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about that one.
If the Lakers aren't able to secure Paul George in like next free agency, how do you think they just pay Randall a lot of money anyway, or is he just him? Is he still probably going to leave to sort of like move the way for Ingram at the four, possibly?
Is that
Nelson?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on what the Lakers do in the draft with 28 and the other pick, and whether they trade Nance or whether they have to because of too much redundancy at the four. Because you have Ingram, who's going to play some serious minutes at the four, not so soon, but maybe in 2 or 3 years. Dang is under contract for 3 more years, and his best position is going to be at the four, and you're going to find minutes for him at the four, as well as having Larry Nance there, who is also a four, and having Randall, who's also a four. And if you bring Paul George, that's another guy who's going to take minutes at the four position. So it's just difficult for the Lakers to allocate somebody nice to one position, and Lakers are going to have to make some tough calls. I mean, they're going to have to either trade Larry Nance or trade Julius Randle or let him walk. I don't think letting him walk would be ideal, in my opinion, especially if you don't get Paul George. I think I do my best to make sure that he's back in LA, just because I think Larry Nance is more of a energy big that comes off the bench, and I don't think that he's really a starter, in my opinion. And I think that Randall just has more upside. I think that he'd be the guy that I'd rather keep. I'd rather keep on the roster. So I think I tried my best to keep Randall, especially if Paul George doesn't sign with the Lakers. Just because I believe in his upside, and I believe that he can be a good power forward in the NBA. He'd obviously need to show some serious improvements this year. He needs to show some sort of a jump shot that would really go a long way for his potential, and more consistent defense and just more consistency in general would really help. But yeah, I mean, I like to see him back. It's just kind of hard to predict right now, just with the draft coming up, and we don't know what direction they're going to go, and free agency obviously looming. So I mean, it's just really tough to pinpoint where the Lakers are going to go. But right now, I think I'd like to keep Randall, especially if Paul George ends up being traded to another team and he just doesn't want to leave. So
yeah, it's a really tricky situation with Julius. I do think he will have a huge season this year. I mean, he just looks ready to play already. I mean, he's totally bulked. Not only bulked up, he's just gotten cut, like super cut over the past 5 weeks. So I'm really just like I'm excited, but kind of like not at the same time, because if he does really well, I mean, I can definitely see a team like the Nets just throwing 26 million at him, and I don't see the Lakers wanting to put that much cap put that much money on someone like Julius, who would probably be like the third best player or a fourth if they end up getting a star in free agency. That's not Paul George. So if Lakers do get Paul George, what do you think the Lakers are going to have to add around the core of D'Angelo, Lonzo, Ingram, and Paul George? And I guess this can kind of go the same way, even if we don't get Paul George. But what do you think the Lakers need to add that would really help? Those four guys. Nelson.
I think that probably a rim protecting five is, in my opinion, is what you really need. That would really go a long way for helping Paul George and Ingram not have such heavy burden on defense. You really want to have at least a decent defender at the five spot that can maybe stretch it. That would really help. I think that kind of player is ideal for having now in the modern NBA. But I think off the bench, you definitely want some shooting, someone who could space the floor. Someone kind of like Luke Kennard, they can bring off the bench and still space the floor, still create some kind of offense, but he'd really just be there just to catch and shoot and space the floor. Another guy that I'd look at that kind of OG defender would also help on defense and really help bring some versatility and bring defensive relief off the bench. I think those kind of guys, those kind of role player guys that are like in the high lottery, those kind of archetypes are the archetypes that you want to surround yourself with, especially moving into the more versatile floor spacey NBA. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to imagine a roster because we don't know if they're going to trade certain pieces or not, and what pieces they're going to have to let go just to sign Paul George, and what kind of free agents would be attracted to the Lakers. So it's just really tough to pinpoint that. But as far as like players, you really want much more modern, versatile players to surround themselves with, and also shooters, so that the guards can get them the ball and space the floor, and also to not just give it relief and make everyone's job a lot easier just by being spaced out.
Yeah, I think even if we don't get Paul George, these are obviously big things that you need to be a contending team in the NBA. I mean, look at the Warriors. They have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, but they have guys who have specific roles. And Klay Thompson is one of the best spot-up shooters in the NBA, and Draymond Green is one of the best switch defenders I've ever seen, honestly. But I know, Clayton, I know you're a big believer of adding certain archetypes, especially since we're adding Lonzo. So what type of players are you looking to add, either in the draft or in free agency or something like that, that would really help out a core with or without Paul George?
Kind of like how Nelson said, some type of rim protecting five. You're gonna need you need a big man that can protect the rim, but also get out on the perimeter. And defend, be able to handle switches. I think you need just defense on the wings and floor spacing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thinks that you have to emulate exactly what the Warriors are doing. You're not going to emulate the Warriors because you don't have Steph Curry, you don't have Kevin Durant, you don't have Klay Thompson, you don't have Draymond Green. It just So the best way, if you look like the teams that give them trouble are teams loaded full of wings that are able to switch and shoot the ball and fill certain roles. One of the most important players on the Warriors, Andre Iguodala, he's a good shooter. He's not a great shooter, but he's a great defender. Even still, at his what is he now? 33, 34, something like that?
33, yeah.
Like Lakers are likely going to take Lonzo at 2. I think it's pretty obvious to everyone.
Yeah, like 95% sure they'll draft Lonzo.
Yeah. So what you're hoping is that he can fill a role of like Klay.
Right.
Okay. I'm not saying that he's going to be Klay. I'm saying like he's going to be running off of screens a lot.
Yeah.
You would assume I can pretty safely say that Lonzo's already a better handler than Klay.
That's not saying much, but yeah.
Yeah. And you hope that the defense one day is able to be average or above average.
Clay's awesome.
Yeah. Clay's one of Clay's weaknesses when coming into the draft was defense. So he developed that. You would hope that Lonzo's able to develop some of that.
Yes, well, yeah, something that a big thing with Clay was that he added a lot of strength. I think he's about
Lonzo's going to have to do that, and I don't know if he necessarily has a big frame to do it.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's necessarily a poor frame. I think it's a decent. I mean, Nelson, you're the one that's watched the most tape on him out of all of us. I would say that Lonzo's thin and slight, he's also not like super narrow or anything.
Right. No.
Right?
Yeah. I definitely think that he has some kind of mess to him. It's just not a huge amount to where he'll be able to post up players that are at the shooting guard position, which are usually bigger than the ones at the point guard position. So you won't be able to really muscle his weight in there that much, and he really shied away from contact, and he was easily he wasn't throwing around like some kind of like a De'Aaron Fox, who's obviously really light, but he definitely wasn't taking contact all that well, just because of he doesn't have that much mass to him, and I think his frame is good enough to where it could add to a certain point. I just don't think that it's gonna be anything serious that really changes his game. So
yeah, he's listed at 190. So
yeah, I think it's core strength he really needs to add.
Yeah, he's going to be 20, I think, a month into the season. So he's still, obviously still pretty young. So he'll have plenty of time to add weight. I think if he can get up to 205,
205 is where Clay is at right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get up to that, I think you're happy. You're looking for these guys that can spread the floor, move the ball, defend. That's one thing I kind of have a piece coming out on this type of thing. You're looking for that defense. You're looking for the perimeter, defense, because now it's just a perimeter-oriented game. You're looking for a big that can protect the rim, and you're looking for shooting. That's essentially what you're going to be looking for. And if you get Paul George, or if you don't get Paul George, Paul George is best when he can rely on someone behind him. And when he was younger, that was Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
Now the past couple of years, it was Jan Mahimi or Miles Turner, and they were both really good.
Yeah.
So, they need that perimeter big. Sorry, that can also protect the rim. They need spacing. They need defense. So,
yeah. I've had one thing. I don't know how much I would trust the Googling the weight, because it says De'Aaron Fox is 187 pounds.
Yeah, no, he weighed at 168.
Yeah, he's not that. But yeah, Lonzo doesn't look like a guy who's small or anything like that, and he can add some core strength, which is gonna be big for him defensively. But I think that is gonna do it for us tonight. We will be having a few podcasts this week. Doing a mock draft tomorrow, a special guest on Wednesday, and then the actual draft will be live streaming during it. So join us then. Clayton, you have anything coming out soon?
Kind of discuss that. We'll be having a couple more mock drafts coming out. I know that they've been delayed, but they'll be out here this week.
Nelson?
I will be releasing the all-hair team of the 2017 NBA draft. The 5 players at the point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and power forward, and center position. They will each have a player that has the best hair in their position. It is not based on talent. It is based on the quality of their hair. So,
awesome. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.